Before you even open your eyes this morning, you probably reached for your phone. Maybe checked the time. Scrolled a little. It felt automatic, didn't it? Like your body just knew what to do. But here's something worth thinking about. 100 years ago, people woke up and did something completely different. Something we've almost entirely forgotten. And honestly, when you hear what it was, you might feel a quiet sadness for a world that no longer exists. Good morning habits used to look nothing like ours. They were slower. More deliberate. And in many ways, they were more connected to the world around you. So let's go back. Let's step into those quiet mornings before electricity ruled everything, before screens existed, before the world got so loud. Because some of what people did every single day is genuinely fascinating, and almost nobody talks about it anymore. Let's start with something called airing the bed. Every single morning, in homes across Europe and America, people would pull back their blankets and leave their beds open. Not make them. Not straighten them. Just leave them completely exposed to the air for at least an hour. Sometimes two. This wasn't laziness. It was considered absolutely essential. People genuinely believed, and doctors agreed at the time, that a closed bed trapped dangerous night air inside the sheets. They thought sleeping bodies released harmful vapors, and if you trapped those vapors in a made bed, you would breathe them in again the next night and get sick. So every morning, windows were open wide, blankets were folded back, and the bed was left to breathe. Housekeeping guides from the 1800s listed this as the very first duty of the morning. More important than breakfast. More important than washing your face. A bed that hadn't been aired was considered almost dangerous, a sign of a careless household. This habit lived on quietly into the early 20th century, and then slowly, as germ theory replaced older ideas about air and illness, it simply faded away. Now we make our beds immediately or don't make them at all. The idea of leaving them open for an hour sounds strange to us. But for generations, it was as natural as breathing. Then there was the morning tooth rag. Before toothbrushes became common in most households, people cleaned their teeth with a small piece of rough cloth. They would rub it across their teeth and gums, sometimes dipped in salt, sometimes in chalk powder, sometimes in a paste made from charcoal or crushed herbs. The brushing motion we know today didn't really exist. It was more of a vigorous scrubbing. And it worked well enough to keep most people's teeth reasonably clean, though dentistry was still a deeply painful and feared experience back then. The cloth was rinsed, dried, and used again the next morning. It sounds unhygienic to us now, but in households where toothbrushes were expensive or hard to find, the tooth rag was a trusted daily companion. When mass-produced toothbrushes became affordable in the late 1800s and early 1900s, the tooth rag disappeared almost overnight. Nobody mourned it. But it served its purpose quietly for centuries. Here is one that might surprise you. Many people, especially in rural areas and small towns, began every single morning by checking the sky. Not with an app. Not with a radio. Just stepping outside, looking up, and reading the clouds. This was a genuine skill passed from parents to children for generations. The color of the sky at dawn. The shape and movement of clouds. The direction of the wind. The smell of the air. All of these things told a working person what kind of day was coming. Farmers depended on it entirely. Fishermen trusted their lives to it. Even ordinary townspeople learned the basic signs because knowing the weather shaped everything about your day. What clothes you wore. Whether you traveled. Whether you harvested or stayed home. Whether reading was a morning ritual as important as eating. It required stillness and attention in a way that feels almost meditative now. When weather forecasts arrived on the radio, and then television, and then smartphones, this quiet morning practice became unnecessary. The knowledge slowly left the culture. Most of us today couldn't read a cloud if our lives depended on it. And then there was the morning visit. In many communities, particularly in the 1700s and 1800s, it was completely normal and socially expected to visit your neighbors shortly after sunrise. Not in the afternoon. Not in the evening. In the morning. You might stop by to share news, borrow something small, check on an elderly neighbor, or simply exchange a few words before the day pulled everyone in different directions. These weren't long visits. They were brief, warm, and human. They created a daily thread of connection between people who lived close to each other. Communities stayed informed, people didn't go unnoticed, and loneliness was harder to take root. As houses became more private, as work moved further from home, as mornings became rushed rather than slow, the morning visit quietly ended. Now knocking on a neighbor's door before noon without warning feels almost like an intrusion. Something that was once a gift has become almost uncomfortable. When you step back and look at all of these forgotten habits together, a picture starts to form. Mornings used to be outward-looking. People turned their attention to the air, the sky, their neighbors, their own bodies, their immediate world. There was a rhythm to it. A slowness that wasn't about laziness but about being present in the first hours of the day. We didn't lose those habits because they were bad. We lost them because the world moved faster and we moved with it. Progress took us somewhere, but it left some things behind on the road. So maybe, just once this week, before you reach for your phone, step outside and look up at the sky for a moment. Not to check anything. Not to photograph it. Just to look. Just to be there in the morning, the way people once were, every single day, without even thinking about it. Some things disappear so quietly, you don't even notice they're gone until someone reminds you they ever existed.